You know, have you ever met someone who just seems incredibly strong, like they're responsible, totally put together, but you just get this feeling there's something much deeper going on? Well, psychology shows us that childhood trauma doesn't always look the way we think it does. It can quietly rewire a person building this hidden architecture of survival. So let's explore what that architecture actually looks like from the inside.
When we think of someone with a traumatic past, we often picture someone who's visibly struggling, maybe even broken. But the reality? It's often the most capable person in the room, the one who handles everything, the one who seems absolutely unshakable. And that strength, well, that's very often a direct result of their past.
So we're going to look beyond that surface. Because when you peel back that hyper-capable exterior, you start to find these really rare psychological traits, things that were quietly shaped by one single thing: the need to survive a childhood that was unpredictable.
And research consistently points to 5 of these, 5 really distinct traits, although, to be honest, calling them traits doesn't feel quite right. They're more like survival skills. They're adaptations, not flaws. Let's break them down, one by one.
Okay, first up is this almost superhuman ability to read a room. This is the person who can feel a change in the mood or a shift in someone's tone before anyone else even has a clue something's off. And believe it or not, there's a clinical reason for this.
That psychological reason is a state called hypervigilance. See, when a child's environment is unpredictable, their brain learns it has to constantly scan for emotional danger just to stay safe. As an adult, that scanner is still on, all the time. It's so easy to just label that as anxiety, isn't it? But it's fundamentally different. It's actually a highly sophisticated survival skill that became so automatic it never learned how to switch off.
The second echo flows right from the first one. It's this deep, almost gut-level need to manage the feelings of the people around them. They feel this intense responsibility to keep everyone else calm, happy, and okay.
So where does that come from? It often stems from something called emotional role reversal. As kids, they learned that their own safety, their own stability, depended on them being able to manage a parent or caregiver's moods. So in adulthood, that pattern just continues. It looks like intense people-pleasing or feeling this crushing guilt when someone else is upset. They don't just care, they feel accountable.
All right, number 3 is a big one, and it might sound totally backwards. For a lot of people who've been through this, a state of calm doesn't feel peaceful at all. In fact, it can feel really dangerous.
And here's why that happens. If chaos was your normal growing up, your nervous system literally learned to equate being on high alert with being safe. So when things are quiet, when they're stable, it just feels wrong, unfamiliar, like it's not going to last. Sometimes it can even feel undeserved, which leads them to stay busy, to create distractions, just to avoid that strange, uncomfortable feeling of peace.
Number 4 is a trait that our society loves to praise as a strength: extreme independence. You know these people. They're the ones who handle absolutely everything themselves. They almost never ask for help.
Well, psychology has a name for this: defensive self-reliance. It wasn't that they chose to be this way, it's that they learned a really hard lesson really early. The only person you can truly count on is yourself. When support wasn't there or wasn't consistent, the brain just adapted. It started minimizing its own needs, and as a result, depending on other people now feels deeply uncomfortable, maybe even risky.
And the 5th and final trait, this one reveals a really powerful paradox. These individuals often have this profound, incredible capacity for empathy. They can understand other people's suffering on such a deep level, but they will almost never show their own. They basically became experts at sensing unspoken pain in others, because they had to learn that their own feelings were inconvenient, or ignored, or even worse, unsafe to show. So they became these quiet carriers of their own struggles, all while offering the very comfort to others that they themselves so rarely got. So you've got these 5 incredible adaptations, right? Hyper-awareness, emotional caretaking, a discomfort with calm, that fierce independence, and quiet empathy. These are brilliant tools for survival. But that leads us to the most important question of all. What happens when that survival mode just never turns off?
And this is where we have to make a really critical distinction. Are these traits just who someone is? Is this their personality? Or are they skills that have maybe outlived their original purpose? This is about shifting our perspective from just protection to healing.
This is the absolute heart of it. The incredible skills that once kept you safe, they might now be the very things that are preventing you from feeling truly connected and relaxed and supported.
What once served as your armor might now feel a bit like a cage.
So let's just quickly recap the big takeaways here. First, trauma doesn't just break people. It forges this rare and really powerful emotional intelligence. Second, these survival traits are not your fixed personality. They are adaptive strategies you learned. And most importantly, healing isn't just possible. It is absolutely 100% deserved.
And that brings me to a final and maybe the most important message. If any of this has been resonating with you, even a little bit, please listen closely to this next part.
That constant state of being on high alert, of taking care of everyone else, of handling everything on your own, it is exhausting. You don't have to carry that weight forever. Being strong was a necessity. It doesn't have to be a life sentence.
The message from psychology on this is so clear and so affirming. You are worthy of the same exact peace and care that you give so easily to other people. You deserve safety, you deserve softness, and you absolutely deserve to rest.
So, I'm going to leave you with a question to reflect on. As we've walked through these 5 echoes of survival, did any of them feel a little too personal? And more importantly, is there one that you feel like you might be ready to start healing, to gently start unlearning?